Hey everybody, it's the Nitty Professor back again with more gorgeous creations that my brother, the tailor, made for his doll collection. Nancy, tell us what we have here to start off with.
Well, this is a beaded gown. I'm pretty sure he did the beading because you can see the way that the pattern of the beading lines around the collar of the dress and around the armholes of the dress. I'm almost positive he did all that beading on there. And
Crazy amount of detail.
As usual, it's got the underskirt with all kinds of pleating and then ribbon attached to it, and impeccably made. As you can see, no frays. It's all French seamed. It's lined. Everything about it. Now this one does not have his signature label on it, but still just beautiful work of art. The beading is incredible.
He went through a lot of those labels, I think.
He probably did.
He was a busy boy.
And this one fits the Jean doll.
We can hold her up a little closer.
Sure. This one is for the Jean doll.
Beautiful.
I think my brother's favorite color was this sort of pink, peachy pink color.
Right, I associate that with him.
There's another gown that he made. This one's beautiful with the ruching. All of this fancy ruching.
This one?
Yes, all of this fancy ruching around the bodice and the waistband. Just beautifully done. I'm sure this is some sort of silk again.
Where do you think he got the inspiration? I assume he made his own patterns, but
I suspect that he used to teach fashion history, so I suspect that he just had all of this stuff sort of like in his mind, just in his
brain
DNA practically. But again, it's just a beautiful, beautiful garment. I imagine that the fabrics and scraps that he used to make these gowns came from the salvaged scraps from the designer gowns that he
worked on.
Yeah, that he was a tailor at Saks Fifth Avenue, and so
women's couturier.
Women's couturier, that's it.
We should show those other gowns behind it there.
Well, there are several of them. This one's based on a Barbie gown. There were two colors. Excuse me, you're looking at my back. But there were two colors, the blue one and the pink one. And this is based on a Barbie gown. Enchanted Evening, I think is what it's called.
Wow.
And so these two are based. Now this one with the big bow on the back, this one's beautiful. This one's his own creation. Here, I'll hold these up. This is the pink and the blue of Enchanted Evening Barbie.
The fabric is so beautiful.
Isn't it pretty? Satin. Beautiful satin fabric.
And this one's a little bit different fabric. It's a little bit less lustrous, but somehow it's got more depth.
Yeah, that's raw silk. Show the back.
I mentioned raw silk a lot in my novel because I have one character who's a fashionista.
And this one has a train. And although this one isn't lined, the seams you can see are French seams. Like you can see the way that he finished the seam.
If only we all had access to clothes that were this well made.
Right.
You know?
This is not the kind of clothes I wear.
It just seems like it's a lost art. And so these little garment bags we discovered have some treasures in them. And the garment bags are also handmade with, I guess this is just some kind of cotton.
Yeah, that he would call this muslin. He made muslin mock-ups of garments before he would then construct the actual garment.
Oh, that makes sense.
So that he could get the fit right, and then he would make the pattern. He'd make the pattern from the muslin.
This is kind of fascinating.
Yes, little fur coat. Now I love his label in here. It's just classic Dan with the label in there. I don't know if this is rabbit fur or what, but this was probably salvaged materials from something he tailored, something that he altered, excuse me, for a client. The lining is silk.
So he was recycling and reusing.
He was recycling and reusing before recycling and reusing was even a thing.
And this has a little treasure in the way of
another
knitted cardigan. It's intriguing. And I inherited a few skeins of the wool that he used to make these. So I actually recognize the yarn because I have a little bit left. And I now have a blind Barbie doll. And I have some patterns that a friend of mine gave me for Barbie clothes that you can knit.
Wow.
So I think I need to knit blind Barbie some sweaters. My protagonist in books 5 and following sort of channels blind Barbie's fashionista and competent vibe. So that's really cool. And another skirt. Ooh, that one's incredible.
Well, I think this is Mary McFadden, maybe.
Love the tailoring in this skirt.
Yes, it's beautiful with the pleats.
And I'm guessing this one is lined.
Yeah.
Yep. Look at that. Beautiful color fabric. Yeah, these fabrics, so you expect these fabrics are from clothes that he worked on.
Yes.
At Saks.
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
When he was fitting them for the clients.
Correct.
Now, what is your recollection on who taught Dan to sew?
It was our mother. Our mother used to make our clothes when we were kids. She'd make matching outfits for us.
That's right. We're a year and a half apart, but we have a lot of pictures, even though our style was so different, because Nancy was more prototypically girly, I'd say, in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
Versus me trying to start my own football team there in Buffalo, New York, and shopping for hockey sticks and stuff like that. We definitely had different tastes, but not according to our mother. And she used to curl her hair.
She did. She curled her hair. But she taught Dan how to sew. And then early on, when he was in high school, he worked in the costume department.
In theater?
In theater. He was the costume person in all the theater productions. I remember a playbill for Hello, Dolly, and I had him sign it. I was so impressed that he worked in theater.
And I remember he was in the show Camelot.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, I have that program.
Okay.
This dress is incredible.
This is Mary McFadden, I believe, fabric. Somebody was obviously wanted to change the length of it, and then he took it and transformed it into a jean doll gown. It's just beautiful. I mean, the construction on the inside is, I'm not even sure I completely understand it, but I guess there's a way where it like fits around the shoulders in such a way you can see this sort of under structure in here to have it hug her body. And then even the structure, it's just strange to see this structural element. Let me get this undone here. You can see all of the nips and tucks in the inside of the bustier to fit the doll, and then to put his label in there too, and the Saks Fifth Avenue label. It's just incredible, really. It's incredible. The finishing
it's so whimsical
on this thing.
Goes back to what we were saying the other day about him creating this ideal world.
Yeah.
Of fashion perfection.
Fashion perfection. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Are you aware of him having made much in the way of man's clothes for any dolls?
Well, he made his own men's clothes. I don't think he was interested in making suits for men, because he worked in men's tailoring. When he first moved to Atlanta, he worked for Muses, and he did all the men's tailoring, and he also did the men's tailoring for a designer, Alexander Julian, who had a men's clothing store at Lenox Square years and years and years ago. But then I think he really found his niche in women's designer women's tailoring alterations. You know, he could take a knitted garment and repair holes. He was just the man for women's tailoring.
So he was good at mending too.
He could do it all.
I wish he was still here because I want to learn more. I remember when I was starting to sew a decade or so back, I would ask him questions, and he really gave me good advice on French seams
Yes.
and construction and how to go about it. Now I have to ask my daughter because she's been learning some of the same arts. In fact, she did the costuming at Creighton when she was a musical theater major. And
Following in his
designed
footsteps.
some costumes. So yeah, I'm hoping she'll continue that work because right now she's sort of doing something that pays
Yes.
more steadily.
Yes.
But
Here's another
she's
garment
got the talent.
that's like uber construction type. Look at this. This is like something you would see on Project Runway. This. Of course,
That's incredible. I just love that one.
It's a little crinkled, but you can see these interesting pleating that he's got going on here.
It makes me wonder if he ever advised Brad LaFoon on his costumes.
He may have. And this one has a tiny little zipper on the back, but again, I'm just fascinated by the
workmanship is
structure of it.
yeah.
Just the way
Amazing.
it's like structured. Like the dress stands up on its own. It doesn't even need a hanger. It's like a fabric sculpture.
I remember when we lived in Buffalo a long time ago, he was fascinated with Godet's ladies'
Yes.
plates, fashion prints from the 19th century, and
He
he
was.
made muslin dolls, and he taught me how to make them.
Yep.
I still have one that I made, a guy, and I used to make clothes for, I was the one who made the boy clothes. I made the clothes for Ken, and yeah, he made fairly detailed outfits for his muslin dolls
did. I
of
have
both
one
genders.
I have one of the early ones over here. I'll grab it while you show off
Okay.
more clothes. Let me put this away.
I'll show off this one. And this is for Jean too?
These are all for, I think these in these garment bags are all for
They're all
Jean.
for Jean.
Yeah. I'll go get that.
I love this color. I've been dreaming of knitting a sweater from this ultramarine color, and I'm struggling to find the yarn. But I may have to take a picture of this specific dress as inspiration for the yarn that I would like. And this one has a similar lining to give it a little structure. Gorgeous. Yeah, show us the doll. So
Here's
he made
the
this
doll. Here's the doll from the 70s. Looks very Little House on the Prairie inspired, but it's based on out of the doll making book that when he was a young, I guess he was probably a teenager. Would you say he was a teenager?
Barely.
And he may not have even. It looks almost like he wasn't even using a sewing machine because he was copiously, meticulously stitching by hand everything. You can see around the collar the hand stitching. It's all hand stitched. Everything is stitched by hand. Even the doll, you can see on her neck where the closure. See if I can get my.
How did he make the hair? Looks like embroidery floss.
It's embroidery floss.
Wow.
Isn't that something? Embroidery floss.
extraordinary.
Hair. And a
Again,
little
just the level of detail, the meticulousness.
pen marker.
Yeah, I used to, when I was younger, I invested my need for meticulousness into needlepoint.
But again, he had that sensitivity with the print. He picked a print that had the right scale. It's just, the whole thing is just, for a child to make this is just incredible.
He was very motivated.
And all hand stitched, like you can see the stitching on the arm. He must not have been allowed to use the sewing machine because guess what? He was gay. And my mother was like, no, we won't have that. I would imagine he may have hidden in his room to sew this together, would be my guess, that he had his door closed and...
Those were the times, the good old 60s. Father knows best, mother knows best.
This is Tailor.
Yeah, so now we want to move into a little bit more modern territory to close things out. The Tailor doll. I don't know a whole lot about these. It says Robert Towner Doll Company presents the Tailor Wentworth collection from Kingston, New York. We also have this Tailor doll. He has a few Tailor dolls, and I was like, we should dress this doll up, and Nancy was like, we don't want to unpackage her. We might disturb something, but I just love this doll. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, she really is beautiful.
And so he made a whole wardrobe for these dolls. And tell us what you know about some of these créations we've got here.
We need to get the other, we've got a whole nother,
Are these some of them?
maybe these are the Tailor doll clothes.
That's
I
what
think
you were
these are the
saying.
Tailor doll
Yeah.
clothes. Okay, so these
over
these
here.
are the jean clothes,
Yep,
and then
and
these are the Tailor clothes.
So is this one
That's
of them?
actually a Tailor dress.
That's a Tailor,
dress
okay.
for Tailor, not for Jean.
And this is a similar construction.
It is a similar construction.
Yeah.
Look at the bustier on that with the little ruching. And again, this sensitivity to the scale for the print and the big bow in the back.
And the construction.
Here's a suit. We should take a look at this suit.
It amazes me, you know, it's just got volume. Just the way all the darts are made, this is not going to collapse.
No. And that's got the crinoline underneath to give it the volume that it needs. I hate to squish them up in this little case. There's a pair of pants, trousers, little bell bottom.
Made of wool, of course. Wool is sort of like the wonder fabric. Really delightful. This has hook and eye closures on it. Yeah, the bell bottoms are great. Again, I wish clothes were this well made today. You have to look long and hard to find this kind of quality.
Yeah.
Everything. And now they sort of bill holes and unhemmed edges as somehow fashion statements. And I think it's just a way of hoodwinking people into accepting terrible quality as somehow something to be prized.
Here's a beautiful suit.
Show that one off. I like that. I just love
This
that.
one's just beautiful. Look at that tomato red color. The color is amazing on here.
Yeah, I love that color. We'll grab a few more.
And again, the structure of everything is, that's got the little zipper back, but this is another one of those dresses that can stand up all by itself. And this jacket, it's just beautifully constructed.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm sure this is silk. It's even got like a little dart at the elbow to make it fit the doll better.
Wow, this one's interesting. We're gonna have to talk about that.
Oh, this one's a
Unfinished.
something in construction that never got finished. Let's put it up there, Ginny.
Gives us an opportunity to try to cogitate a little about Dan's process
Yep.
for making these garments. This jacket is incredibly detailed.
Look at that.
How would you, so you know a lot about sewing, how would you interpret this basting that's going on here?
I think perhaps
Was he going to add buttons?
so there might, I don't know whether there was going to be a top stitching or whether he was done and it was just basted for the pressing or what, because the garment looks close
It's
to
largely
finished.
done. What about
right?
the lining inside? It's,
And look at these little pockets. Just these pockets that they actually function, you know.
boy, that's something
And
new.
it does look like he
Pockets that function.
had not finished the inside of it, but you can look inside and you can see even the inside of the seams are serged as not to fray horribly. But yeah, you can see the guts of the construction. I mean, Barbie clothes aren't made like this. They're
No.
Anyway, a work in progress that gives us an idea of his process. It's beautiful. Nice velveteen gown.
It's fun to dig into this and see what you find.
Well, he was working on a full-scale
gorgeous.
dress for a client of his, I believe, when he was making this, and the client was all into green and pink. So you can see the inside of this is lined. This is most likely fabric left over from what he was working on for this woman. It's the same colors of the fabric, so he didn't waste. He was like the first Americans with their buffalo. He didn't waste a thing. There was nothing went in the trash. He turned it into something, a belt or a lining or a sleeve or something.
I love that one.
It's beautiful.
Here's another gorgeous bag.
Really good.
Very fashionable dolls.
This one is another example of that beautiful Mary McFadden fabric, and
Oh, I just love that.
the way that he sculpted the bodice is beautiful. And he's even padded out the bustier to give poor Tyler a little more volume up there. But you can see in the bustier he's put pads there to give her a little more oomph.
Tyler, do you need some oomph?
She's perfect the way she is.
I don't know, she looks a little thin to me.
She's svelte.
Very. She needs to work out.
But she's got style.
Extremely.
This is her outfit that she comes in.
So that was
Yeah,
made from the doll company.
that was made from the dolls company.
I still want to dress her up. Maybe
Probably.
after we're done.
Probably the doll company may or may not have put as much care into the construction of the clothing as my brother did, but maybe I'll give him a little credit. I kind of think this might have been a throwback to Lucille Ball.
It has a bit of a funny girl vibe.
It does. It's yeah.
And I feel like Dan was as much a fan of Barbara Streisand as I always was. Funny girl, funny lady. I remember being in the show, in the pit for Funny Girl back in Des Moines, playing trumpet. And this is another, it's almost easier for you to hold these up because of your angle, but showing off the labels.
This one has stays in it.
Wow.
These are stays to keep the bustier from flopping over. So there's little plastic, some kind of plastic strip inside each one of these seams.
Show the labels.
Oh, where are the labels?
They're all in there.
Oh, dry clean only, Daniel Lewis. There they are.
We better watch it. We can't throw this in the washer.
This under structure, and look how he has connected the tulip skirt to the under structure so that it doesn't separate, so that it holds its shape. It's just amazing.
And here's something a bit more modern.
Well, what's interesting about this one is that he has lined it as well, and it's a stretch fabric. But he has lined it, and it's got the little belt with the belt buckle. Oops.
That's incredible.
It's got the little belt, miniature belt buckle in there and everything. And then it's some sort of jersey, and then he's lined it with some kind of netting, jersey net I've never seen jersey lined and then have it work, like have it fit, you know. But it's just an interesting shape too. For anyway, I'm sure it was a challenge to construct.
Absolutely. Pretty little skirt.
It is a pretty skirt. I love the print on that skirt.
This would look nice on Tyler. So there you have it. Anything else that we need to
I think we've covered it.
We've covered it pretty well.
I think we've covered it.
Not that there aren't more. He made Barbie clothes too, but at least we're able to give everyone an impression of his inspiring talent, and I certainly admired my brother's abilities and attention to detail, just his sheer mastery of the field, and I've made just enough clothes and consulted with him just enough times to feel like at least I have some benefit from his knowledge that I can emulate and pass on, and I'm inspired now to dust off my sewing machine again and get out my shirt patterns and make some more of my trademark button downs in bold prints. So thanks everyone for joining us on this little odyssey of checking out my brother's création, and we'll see you next time. Ciao!
Bye.